What it be, what it be, what it do, what it do. It's your host Dave with the Dave and Blue Show. We're back. Game 1 in the books. A big dub, 34-17 against the New Mexico Lobos. And the Michigan Wolverines are officially off and running with the start of the season. Tell your mama, your cousin, your bro to like, share, and subscribe to the Dave and Blue Show. We lit. So, we had our first action from the boys in blue yesterday, 7:30 Eastern, against the New Mexico Lobos. And I was impressed. I loved seeing the offense actually move down the field with the passing game for a change. Seems like we finally entered the 21st century. The play calling was unique on offense. The play calling was spread out. We were able to run and throw the ball, so there's no 8-man box every single play. We got to see Underwood sling the ball. He had an incredible debut. In fact, he broke a record for freshmen, for quarterbacks in a Michigan debut for passing yards. The original record was 179. He broke that record by a lot. He had 251 passing yards on 21 for 31 attempts, so a 67% completion percentage and a touchdown pass. No interceptions, no fumbles. It was astounding, honestly. Bryce Underwood is as advertised, and he is indeed going to be the quarterback of the future for the next 3 years. So, because he's definitely gone after his junior year, unfortunately, but fortunately for us, we have him. He's doing his thing. He's excited to be here. I'm going to get into my thoughts on how the offense and defense played, special teams, everything about the game as I got a chance to think about it and look back through the highlights again, take some notes, that type of thing. I'm going to go into the keys a little bit for what I saw and what I thought we did and how well we did, and also a few areas of improvement. To start off, I'll start off with the offense because that's what I was looking forward to the most. I wanted to see the offense actually be able to throw the ball, and the offense was able to move the ball through the passing game. Bryce Underwood, like I said, was 21 of 31, 251 yards and a touchdown. He would have had a higher completion percentage had a few receivers not dropped passes. Specifically, Fred Moore had a drop that hit him directly in the hands. Channing Goodwin. But Channing Goodwin did have some good plays, though. I can't harp on him right away because Channing Goodwin had that 39-yard reception and gain, and that was the longest pass play we've had in the last 2 years. So shout out to Channing Goodwin, honestly. That made up for the drops, honestly, and he didn't really drop that many. I'd say that the offense in general looked balanced. There were times where the offense stopped a little bit here and there, and I don't know if that was because they were trying to just let the defense run a little bit, but there were a few times where the offense slowed down and didn't score, didn't finish certain drives. But all in all, compared to last year, it was night and day difference. Worlds better, much better efficiency in the passing game. We were moving the ball downfield. I believe at one point in the game, the average yards per play was about 7.8, something along those lines. And that's much better than 2024. The graphic said we had about an average of 4.7 yards a play, I believe, in 2024. And I think it was maybe the first or second half. I forgot which. But it was 7.8 yards per play. So that's... You can't really ask for much more than that. And I get the opponent was New Mexico, and they're not like an incredible opponent. But their coach, Coach Eck, he was the coach at Idaho last year, and Idaho took Oregon down to the wire. And we did not take Oregon down to the wire last year. So he brought in a bunch of his guys from Idaho with him to New Mexico. And so these guys were battling. They were battling the entire game. And let me tell you, I almost started to have flashbacks of Fresno State, but we were able to pull it out, and we were up at least 10 points or so pretty much the entirety of the game. So we were never within one score too much. So we went up 17-0 really quickly. Justice Haynes was incredible. Justice Haynes had 16 rushes, 165 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That man had a hat trick in his first game. I call him Hat Trick Haynes. Hat Trick Haynes. Hat Trick Haynes. I did not hear anyone else say that, so I'm just going to take the ownership of it and say I was the one that coined it. But, yeah, so Hat Trick Haynes. Double deuce, number 22. That man came in an immediate impact. He had a 56-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. He broke another 50-yard run later on in the game and almost ran it down and scored, but he got tackled at the 1 and then he punched it in. And then his third touchdown, I believe, was a counter run. He starts on the left side of Bryce Underwood, takes the handoff, bounces it right. He goes right and then bounces it back to the left. And Bryce Underwood threw a vicious block, great block, on the safety number 21. 21 wasn't even looking at him. Bryce just, boom! That man hit a brick wall. It was crazy. So, shout out to Justice Haynes, man. There was another play that I think personally was, I'm going to say it was my favorite play that he had of the game. I think it was about the third quarter, like 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 8, and Bryce throws him like a swing pass or a little bit of corner route, something like that. Bryce tosses it to him. He jukes 2 defenders, spins off of one, truck/stiff arms another, and he gets brought down. He doesn't get the first down, but that play was incredible. The athleticism to make all those moves and be able to get out and almost get the first down was insane. So shout out to Justice Haynes. He in my opinion, he's RB1. I don't know if they're still trying to do the RB1A thing where there's not a 1 and 2 and they're just 2 guys that play a lot, because Haynes showed out. Marshall did okay. I thought we were gonna see a little bit more from him, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. He'll be all right. He showed he'll be solid. Back when he played against Alabama, had 100 rushing yards. Like, he'll be fine. So the rushing game was good. The offensive line was solid. I think early in the game there was a play that bothered me a little bit where they had Brady Norton pull, and Brady Norton was a little bit slow getting around the edge, and I think it was a tackle for maybe a 2-yard gain, something like that. I don't think it was a loss, but that just was a little odd to me. That kind of stuck out. But I think overall the offensive line was pretty good. What else? The receivers, I've said this before on the Voice of College Football. I was on there last night, and the receivers need to hit the jugs machine a little bit, because there were some inexcusable drops where the ball hits them directly in the hands and they dropped it, or directly in the chest and they dropped it, and it's like, guys, come on. And Andrew Marsh specifically had one play where it didn't hit him in the hands or anything, but he was running and I think he was running the seam. He was kind of like a go route, something like that. Bryce throws it to him, and the pass is perfect. He's running and looking straight and does not get his head around it off. He gets his head around and catches it. There's no defender right there on him. He might be running for a touchdown, and Bryce Underwood might have gotten to 300 passing yards in his debut. That wasn't the only time, but that was one that stuck in my mind. Fred Moore again, it hit him in the hands one time, hit him in the chest. Channing Goodwin had one, but I mean, all in all, that's just nitpicking, honestly, because it wasn't like Bryce was putting the ball in harm's way. He had a few times where he overthrew receivers, but it was more high than just crazy uncatchable passes. So but other than that, the passing game is going to be solid. We did well on offense. I would say we did extremely well on offense, and looking forward to next week against Oklahoma, and we'll see how that goes. I'll probably do a preview video about that a little later on in the week. Let's get to the defense, man. So the defense was solid. The defense was solid. I'll say the defense was solid. They were the defensive tackles. I'd like to see a little bit more pressure from the defensive tackles getting to the quarterback. But then again, they made that pocket very, very messy for the quarterback lane for New Mexico. He was getting pressured a lot, and he was taking some hits. The defensive ends were solid. The defensive ends were shuffling around a lot. Like Wink Martindale was switching in defensive ends left and right here and there. There were a few times where, especially in the second half, I want to say, we got to see a lot from Dom Nichols. We got to see some Nate Marshall at the very end of the game, and Nate Marshall was amazing. Nate Marshall is going to be really, really, really good. He got a sack. He got a tackle. There was one drive, I think, where he was involved in 3 straight plays. It was insane. So I think Nate Marshall, they found one with him. TJ Guy had a one-handed interception. It was insane. I'll say this, the defense was wreaking havoc, honestly. 3 interceptions, 3 sacks. TJ Guy had an incredible one-handed interception. The ball gets thrown and hits off the back of New Mexico's offensive lineman, one of their guards, the back of his helmet. It pops up in the air. TJ Guy falls and just snags it with one hand. Incredible interception, leads to a field goal for us. And then another interception came from Cole Sullivan. That was incredible. The ball kind of just hung up in the air, and there's about 3 or 4 Michigan guys there and one New Mexico Lobo there, and Cole Sullivan ends up snatching the interception. And then I think it was, and then Brandon Hillman had another interception. It was on 4th down, I want to say, or 3rd down. People were saying it was just an arm punt, like New Mexico was just throwing it away just to get rid of the ball and start us back, and hoping that we'd intercept it so that we could have the ball down there closer to our end zone, and they essentially punted away. But I don't care. People are saying it was a bad play. I don't think it was a bad play. Hillman picked it off. I think it was good for Hillman's confidence because I don't think he's gotten an interception yet. It was good for the momentum of the game at the time, and I think the defense was happy about it. So I personally don't care about him catching it or knocking it down. I don't care. So TJ Metcalf did a really good job when he was in. He was creating pressure. He got some hits on the goal line. He was doing his thing. TJ Guy, the defensive end, he was doing well. That interception was beautiful. He was creating pressure. Derek Moore, I would have liked to see a little bit more from Derek Moore, I think. But then again, Wing Martindale was shuffling in his defensive ends a lot, his edge rushers a lot. So, you can't really fault him for that. The linebacker play was incredible. Ernest Hausman led the team with 8 tackles, I believe it was. Jayshawn Barham was hitting. Jayshawn Barham had an incredible sack on New Mexico's quarterback, and it was ruled targeting. Everyone is saying that was a stupid rule, and I believe it was a stupid call, and I believe it was a stupid call as well, because Jayshawn Barham's 6'3". New Mexico's quarterback was 5'10". Jayshawn Barham turns his helmet as he's trying to tackle so he doesn't hit him with the crown of his helmet and cause a targeting penalty. But the ref saw it that way regardless and threw him out for targeting. So Michigan's going to appeal it this week and see if they can get him to play because, quite frankly, we're going to need our hitter, our linebacker, Jayshawn Barham, against Oklahoma. So we'll see how that goes. I'll say I think it was a clean hit. He just hit him hard. You guys, refs, you can't just call every hard hit a targeting or roughing the. I don't understand how it's considered targeting or roughing the passer, specifically roughing the passer, if you tackle a quarterback hard and he still has the ball. Why is that a thing? That irks me a little bit. How is a quarterback holding the ball and you sack him and you hit him hard? How is that roughing the passer if he still has the ball? I'm sorry, that just makes no sense to me. So, that's just my 2 cents on that. I think that Jayshawn Barham was clean. It was a good hit. He tried to turn his head when he made the sack so it wouldn't be targeting, but they saw it as targeting anyway. He can't help it the quarterback's short. He can't help it that he's tall. So, anyway, Cole Sullivan was good. Jimmy Roller was good. Jimmy Roller was getting held a lot by New Mexico's offensive line, and the refs were just not calling it. The refs essentially gave New Mexico a touchdown on one drive because they didn't review an incomplete pass on the sideline that they ruled as a first down catch on the video review, you can clearly see that the ball hit the ground, or the ball didn't hit the ground. The receiver didn't have full possession of the ball as he's hitting out of bounds. He's getting possession of the ball as he's landing out of bounds. Instead of having possession, maintaining it, and going to the ground, he's still bringing the ball in, and it's moving as he's clearly out of bounds. So that's incomplete pass, but they didn't review that. And then they missed a blatant holding call on one of their linemen on Jimmy Roller, and then hey, it is what it is. But, so the score was 34-17, and I'm sure, special teams as well, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to say this. 34-17 was the score, and a lot of people will look at that and, you guys gave up 17 points to New Mexico? We didn't give up 17 points. The refs handed them a drive. Okay? The refs handed them a drive. And then they scored earlier on in a wild trick play. They were at the goal line. They fake a QB sneak and the center snaps it and rolls the ball under the quarterback's legs to the running back who's 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And they have their tight end, Thomas, I believe is his last name, number 7. He was pretty good. He was Taylor. Thomas or Taylor, whatever his last name was. They have him fake block, and then he runs as the ball is rolling down across the ground to the running back. The running back picks it up, throws it to him. He's wide open because how could we have known that was coming? That trick play was wild. In the moment, I was frustrated, but then looking back on it, that play is one of those plays where you just scratch your head and say, hey, there's nothing we could do about that. How do you study or practice that on film or anything? How are you going to know that someone's going to do that? So that was kind of crazy. So, special teams. We muffed a punt and we fumbled on a kickoff. Samaj Morgan recovered the muffed punt, but the kickoff, Andrew Marsh was the kick returner, the freshman 4-star receiver. He was returning the kick, running. He gets hit. He's kind of falling forward, and the ball comes this way, and then the defender kind of is pulling his arm at the same time, and the ball comes out. And New Mexico recovers the fumble, and that led to their, I believe it was their field goal they got. So, special teams, Zavada was fine. He's automatic. There's never any worries with him. Our puncher was solid too. Hudson Hollenbeck, he was solid. So just really the returners, but I think they'll be able to figure that out. My thing is, if you have one of your starting receivers, I said this earlier when I was watching the Ohio State and Texas game with my brother. If you shouldn't have one of your star receivers or starting receivers returning punts. I don't believe that's a good idea. Unless they are someone who is specifically extremely good at punt returns. You have no one else that can return punts, because they had Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State returning punts. That's not a good idea. Imagine the other team has some crazy, has their coach send somebody in there and just, hey, go hit him. He's their star player, go hit him. Why not? So that's how you get people injured. But anyway, regardless of that, all in all, I think it was a good game. We got to see Jaden Mangum. He made a brilliant play in the back of the end zone, covering number 7 for New Mexico, Taylor or Thomas. I forgot what his last name is. The guy caught it in the back of the end zone, brings it in, but Mangum's hitting him and knocks him out of bounds before he can get his feet down while he's in midair. Clean hit, chest area, boom, hits him. It was beautiful. So it was great to see Jaden Mangum actually being out there. Mason Curtis was making some solid plays, and TJ Metcalf again was flying around. And, all in all, it was good. So I think that moving forward, we're in a good spot. I feel much better going into week 2 this year than I did last year. Last year, going into week 2, it was not looking good. This year, I'll take it. I think I'm of the belief that Oklahoma is not a worry. And, yeah, Mateer had 30 of 37 or something like that for 392 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm not worried about that, though. I mean, yeah, it's good. He's a good quarterback, but I'm not worried about Oklahoma. It's an away game, but I'm not worried about Oklahoma. So I'll get to that later on. I'll do a prediction video, a little bit of analysis there. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on the game. Great first showing for Bryce Underwood. He lived up to the hype, and he's going to exceed expectations, I believe. So earlier in the week, I said 15 of 26. 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, two passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and 50 rushing yards. I missed on the rushing yards. He didn't run the ball because they told him not to, so he didn't score rushing. And then he had 1 passing touchdown instead of 2. But he went over what I thought he was going to do for passing yards. But I'll take it. I will take it. So hey, you know what? We're looking forward to next week. It was a good win. 34-17. We beat New Mexico, started off the season right, gave the guys confidence. Looking forward to Oklahoma, So, hey, keep it locked in here. Tell your mama, your cousin, your bro to like, share, and subscribe to the Dave and Blue Show. And thank you guys for watching and support. And Jesus loves you. Have a good afternoon. Go Blue, man. Let's get it.